All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's live stream. I'll be on for about an hour, and I'm here to answer your questions about mental health, relationships, toxic personalities, as I call it, people that are narcissistic, borderline, any of the cluster B personality disorders, especially healing from relationships from them, which can be extremely daunting and feel overwhelming or feel like the worst thing, but it could also lead to the best thing. I have a course on healing and thriving after toxic relationships and narcissistic abuse because it can feel like the most devastating thing ever, but it could lead to the best like up leveling of your life. So, hi, I comment to make you angry. Hello, how are you? Good to see you as always. So yeah, I'm gonna jump into some questions I got in the comments, and I think they're all in the comments. I don't think I have any from my I have one DM question, and I answer them here because if you do DM me, I'll like maybe briefly answer it, but I'll typically answer it on a live stream. Unless you want to work one-on-one with me, then that's I smile. Then yeah, then I could get into more detail about things. But sometimes, and if you're a coach watching this or anyone in the mental health field or helping profession of any kind, it's really important to have boundaries because people tend to just want to take sometimes and just think that because you're a therapist online that you should provide free therapy or whatever it is. So it's always good to have boundaries. And that's just something we talk about in general. And I think it's a growing edge for a lot of people is having healthy boundaries and not being afraid to have healthy boundaries. Um okay. So the first question or comment that was also a question is how do I get this person out of my thoughts? I went no contact with them about 3 months ago, but I still feel her energy pulling at me and keep thinking she's low vibrational and I'm trying to rise above it. But she's my twin flame, which I, have a lot to say about that. And really, there's no like thing to rise above. Like, we don't have to think about it. It's like, I need to rise above. That's actually a form of resistance. What we want to think about and like, we want our mind frame and our mindset to be this was a really bad relationship. What did I learn from it? And what can I let go of? What can I release? Because when you get in a toxic relationship of any kind, there is some wounding there that can be healed. There's definitely an opportunity for healing and growth. So what you want to do is like not be like, I have to resist this and like fuck her. And like it's okay to go through an anger phase. We have to let all emotions are energy in motion, so we have to let them flow through us, right? We have to let them go. But what you want to do is look at what parts of yourself were like really needing love, really felt unfulfilled, really felt like this narcissist or toxic person was going to fulfill. Because again, these toxic people, they pull you in by finding out what you want the most and then pretending like becoming that for X amount of time, enough to pull you in before they start breadcrumbing you and everything. And that's one of the most devastating things is finding out that you fell in love with someone that didn't exist. You fell in love with this character that they created basically to con you, to pull you in. So there's nothing to rise above. We just want to learn from the experience. And these toxic people, they just represent something that's unhealed. It's actually a really good opportunity to be able to look like, you know what, thank you, toxic person. I'm so glad that you brought all this to the surface. I would have been suppressing it or unconsciously unaware of it. But thank you, toxic relationship. Now that it's over, especially, what can I see that I need to look at or heal? Or what part of myself do I need to like love more? And or what false belief, especially, this is always true, what false belief do I need to let go of? That like I need to suffer to be loved, that I have to give so much to get a little bit, that all men are shit, all women are shit. If you really have those thoughts, that's what will show up in your life. That was another comment I got. I forgot to add it to there, but it was just like, yeah, all women are like this. I was like, sir, I can't remember if it was through YouTube or on Instagram, but I'm like, if you think that all women are like that, that is the only thing that is going to be reflected into your experience. And it's really sad to think that some people, they're so unconsciously addicted to victimhood and really thinking that all certain people are that way, that it's like, really? And I mean, there could be a lot there. Like, I think there are a lot of men that hate women, and I think that there are a lot of women that fucking hate men, and that's their own wounding. I think a lot of them are gay or whatever and don't want to admit that to themselves. There's a lot of stuff there, but yeah, that's what's going on. And so the other part that's really significant, and if this is happening to you, don't judge yourself or like be frustrated with yourself. But when he said in this comment, I feel her low energy pulling at me, that's a real thing, because toxic people, even if you go non-contact with them, you can be non-contact with them for 3 years even, and like this person's only non-contact for 3 months, right? So but they it's called hoovering, and they kind of like stalk you. They're always like, they're waiting, but they are thinking about you. And you know what? We're all energy. Everything is energy, right? So of course we can feel someone else like thinking about us, or whatever. That is a real thing. And I have to tell you that toxic people do that, even if they dump you and they discard you in the most like toxic way, that the most abusive way, that feels like I was just a piece of trash that got like completely like thrown out, which is what they do when they are in the discarding phase. They toss you out like you meant nothing, and they want you to feel like that because they feel like shit and they feel like nothing. But that doesn't mean that they're not constantly thinking about you, especially when you stop chasing them, especially if you, at least it shows that you don't care or you're not whatever. They fucking hate that and they will never forget it. Okay. I've had people circle back after years and I'm like, what the fuck? I don't even, leave me alone, But so they're going to constantly be hoovering. So you have to decide. I know that that's happening. I know that they're whatever. And also, I have to say this one thing. They will try to get back in contact with you. They'll be stalking your social media. And unfortunately, it's not really about you. And what I mean by that is they are just upset that they lost a form of supply through you. So they only see humans as like, you exist for adoration, for you to praise and like put me on a pedestal or everything, or for me to offload on you and offload all my guilt and shame and make you feel like shit. That's the only reason that you exist. So that's the only reason that they want you back, or to like dump you again, to like make you feel upset again, or just shit on you again. So they don't really want you back, even if they say that and, oh my God, I'm so sorry, and have this profuse apology, which they will do sometimes to just reel you back in before they toss you out again. So we want to be aware of that. And the whole goal is to just never attract that dynamic again. I want you guys to learn from these toxic relationships so you never attract that dynamic again. Because when you don't, you like vibrationally, you're functioning and living and existing at a different level of consciousness where you won't attract this low vibrational trash, right? As I call it. So that is the point. But yeah, if you are experiencing a toxic person hoovering, stalking your social media, or just trying to get in contact with you, I mean, the people in my life that, I mean, they're like, oh, they get their flying monkeys, their enablers to, contact you or whatever. Just ignore it all. Ignore it all because they really don't matter. Okay, let me go to the comments. I'm a little backed up on the comments. Okay, let's see. Patriarchy. Boundaries for narcissistic mothers for sure. Oh, God. Oh, that could be a whole topic, Tashi. Did you have... oh, you were... Yeah, about my... Yeah, boundaries with narcissists don't exist. They don't like that, because it is all about manipulation and control. These are the most controlling people. They need to feel like they own you. And so if they can't control you in any way, which is a boundary, it's kind of like, no, this is what I'm allowing and this is what I'm not allowing. They don't like that at all. Okay. And, I have a narcissistic mother, and every boundary I had, it was like the biggest fight, and still is. No accountability, and any boundary that you have is just like weaponized against you, or it's totally gaslit and turned into this other thing of you being selfish, or you not understand, or I'm your mother. Like a lot of narcissistic parents do that. I'm your mother, I'm your father, so you get to do whatever the fuck you want. Wrong. No. Um, let's see. Tashi says egotistical, rising above. Oh my God, condescending. Be your own dream girl. Um, yes, we should all be our own dream girl or dream guy. I comment to make you angry. Thank you, narcissistic person. We both learned something today. Yeah, I mean, the narcissistic person doesn't really want to learn anything because learning means you take accountability for things. And narcissists and toxic people do not like accountability. They equate accountability with them being bad. And if they're bad, that means they'll be rejected and they'll do anything to avoid rejection, including rejecting you first. So it's this really immature, it's kind of fucking stupid. It's like you're really just not going to take accountability for anything. I mean, are we going to pretend like, I don't know, gravity doesn't exist too? Like, what do you mean? Everyone has to take accountability for things. Tashi says, men don't even know we are on a 28-day cycle. I don't even listen to them. They are too stupid, LOL. Statistics prove too. I mean, I don't think all men are that way. I think some men are, and some men are children and immature. And I really do, like I said, I think that some men like hate women, and I think that they want to be us. And I told you this about the narcissists that I dated. A lot of them are secretly gay, or just they hate women so much because they want to be us. Maybe they want the attention from the boys. And like in a male female or like masculine feminine dynamic, the female is cherished, the masculine energy is respected, right? Is respected and admired. And then the female energy is cherished. But narcissistic people want both. They want to be cherished and respected without giving anything in return. That's why it's so exhausting to be around them. So yeah, I don't think that all men are that way, but some are. But I'm telling you, Tashi, and anyone, like, if you change your perspective, like, you know what, the men in my reality only act this way. The men in my reality are respectful and treat me well, and the women in my reality, then that's what you'll attract. I promise you that. This is your world. This is your video game. You can attract whatever type of people, places, things, situations that you want. That is how powerful your mind is. And that's a lot of reason that I create one of the primary reasons that I create my content is for you to understand how freaking powerful your mind is, because it really is. You're constantly creating your reality. So let's see, Christopher, age gap in relationships. My opinion, I'm fine with age gaps. I do think that just because, and this is like scientifically proven, don't shoot the messenger. It's not absolutely completely true for everyone, but like men tend to mature at a slower rate. So it does make more sense if there is an age gap for like the man to be older. And then just because of how biology works, it also makes sense if if there's an age gap where the guy is older. Yeah, I don't have any problem with it. The only kind of age gap I have a problem with is when someone is literally a child and like there's too much of an age gap. And really, like, your brain doesn't fully form until you're 30 years old. Okay. So if some 25-year-old is with a 50-year-old, I think that it could be problematic. And I think it's kind of abusive. I told you, I think I've mentioned that I had this one. She's definitely not a friend anymore. Let's call her Anna. So Anna, she's a total narcissist, right? And female narcissists, all of them, they would still want to she's 55 years old, okay? And she wants to think that she's the shit. And she starts having this little 25-year-old boyfriend who was just like a troubled guy. I felt really bad for him, but you know, and she was just like treating him like really poorly. And I'm like, why do you think this boy would want to hang out with you? I mean, and I think that he like robbed her house a few times and she didn't realize, but she realized she got robbed, but she was unable to think that she was just really wanting to believe that she's so hot, which she's not, that this 25-year-old wanted to hang out with her. And so it was just like abusive on all these levels. So yeah, I think that if both people are fully functioning adults, an age gap is totally fine. But with people with personality disorders and narcissists, it's never going to be fine, no matter what age. I comment to make you angry. If you want to get an insight into a person's personality, ask them what they think of random people in a room. They will subconsciously project. Yeah, I mean, like if you don't know the people, but I mean, yeah, people subconsciously and consciously project all the time. So yeah, that can be true. Sunny Beauty, what does it mean when your partner mentions his ex long-term girlfriend when you asked him a direct question towards him, not anyone else? I would say, Sunny, that is a huge red flag. So just to make sure I got this right, you asked him a direct question and then he started talking about his long-term girlfriend. That sounds like a form of deflection. And I don't know if you were saying, Sunny, that like you had a specific question, like why are you doing this or whatever, and then were they using it as a defense mechanism, like, oh well, my ex-girlfriend always blah blah blah. I feel like that's abusive, and that's actually, if that's the case, I can't completely tell from the question, but if that's the case, when you ask someone something and they bring up someone else, especially an ex, that's a form of triangulation. So triangulation is it's a form of like psychological abuse. A lot of narcissists use it where instead of taking accountability, they will bring someone else. It could be someone from the past. It could be someone that's actively in your social circle. And this happens a lot at work where instead of working with some, like having healthy conflict resolution or healthy communication, they'll bring someone else into it and they're like, oh well, they never saw it that way, well they're okay with it, well why aren't you, because they're, and so it's like this comparison thing. So instead of them taking accountability, they pit two people against each other and make you feel like shit. And it's like, well, my ex-girlfriend never cared about that, so why do you? Bitch, that's not answering the question. Stop trying to triangulate. I'm asking you a specific question. And you could even say, like, when my clients, this happens to my clients, I always say in a conversation when they're doing that, they're like, we can talk about your ex-girlfriend later or never, but like right now I'm asking you a direct question that has nothing to do with your ex-girlfriend. But Sunny, in general, I would say that's a huge red flag, and that your boyfriend, your partner was trying to triangulate you, and that's not okay, in my opinion. I don't like that. Hi, James. Happy belated. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm actually going to a dinner tonight for that. That's why I started a little bit earlier. I comment to make you angry. Mature at a slower rate. That's sexism. It's not. It's just scientifically proven that men tend to. So the brain fully forms at 30, but for men it could be like 35, and for women it's like 28 to 30. It's just, it happens. One episode you said you were God, then you made someone cry. That's sexism. What's your next? I've never said any of those things. Shut the fuck up. I'm actually going to erase that because someone's going to take it the wrong way. I didn't say any of those things. I know that you joke around a lot and you're kidding and you like flirt a lot. I comment to make you angry, but no. Did we miss Lauren's birthday? Yeah, it was on Tuesday. Oh no, happy birthday, Lauren. Thank you. Something about hints that a girl really likes you. Are you Jordan? I'm sorry. Are you asking me how to tell if a girl likes you, or what body language? I can't tell from the question. But are you asking me? Oh, yeah, you wrote, I have a question about relationships. Something about hints about a girl. Something about hints that a girl really likes you. I think that, if a girl or anyone, if you are, I'm just talking about like masculine, feminine energy. So if you are the masculine energy in a relationship, you kind of have to go after it. Like testosterone in the brain, or even not like if you're gay or straight, it doesn't matter. If you're the more masculine energy in a relationship, you just kind of have to hunt a little bit and see like if they like you. I mean, you could ask her out. You can, because girls, this is a common thing. Like a lot of women are just like, we hug a lot, and so sometimes things are misconstrued if you like a girl. So you can, if you make it kind of clear that you like her, then there's an interest, or there could be an interest, but like if there's a gray area, you're just waiting, you might be waiting for a long time. But yeah, that's what I would say about that from what you wrote. I think that's what you're asking me. Sunny, I asked him if he has ever cooked lobster and said no, but his ex-girlfriend has. Why are you talking about your ex-girlfriend? I still think it's a red flag. Like, why? I mean, what if you did that? Oh no, my ex did, but my ex did. Like, why are you in your relationship? It should be a nice little couple bubble. It's a safe couple bubble where only you guys exist. So why the fuck are you talking about an ex or anyone else? And maybe his ex is on his mind. And I would just take that as information. I wouldn't argue with him. I wouldn't get upset or anything like that, but it'd be like noted. And I would note that as a red fucking flag. That's what I would note it as. So again, if you're in here and you have any questions about mental health, psychology, healing, let me know, write it in there. And I'm going to go over this other comment that I got. So it says, yeah, the way I found to word it is that, because this was on a video where, like I was saying, and I was saying it on a live stream, is that some people are so addicted to their victimhood and do not want to take accountability for their side of the toxic relationship. So it's just like, oh no, all men are this way, all women are this way, and I'm just this big victim, and I didn't do anything wrong type of thing. And it's not like you did something wrong, but there is a part of you that's unhealed that needs to just be tended to in the most loving way, so you never attract this type of relationship again. And that is so what I want for all of you, is to continue to evolve, be the best version of yourself in every area of your life, and not attract this toxicity. A lot of us come from trauma. Some of us were traumatized and we don't even know it. And if you're not aware, your relationships will show you. They'll show you that, oh yeah, you have some wounding, and it's because you're attracting people in circumstances where you're not being treated well. That's all it is. So, and this person was saying like that to do that is so it doesn't get taken the wrong way, is that the abusers in general actively search for what attracted unhealed, like there's unhealed things that abusers can sense. And that is very true. Narcissists are very insecure, and they're very like sensitive, and they're very aware, like their nervous system, all of our nervous systems are like our GPS systems. They're flagging certain things. So if you have unhealed trauma, especially around like narcissistic type of behavior, you will attract that. You will attract people that don't love you the way you want to love you, or that will love bomb you and then trash you and then try to bring you back in, like, because somewhere along the line you learn that love isn't consistent, or it's unstable, or it's unsafe, or you don't deserve that, or it has to be difficult, so you'll attract that. And then the narcissist knows that, oh, that person is insecure or doesn't have like that part of themselves like healed. There's some wounding there. And they might not even consciously be like, oh yes, that person has wounding, but they know. They're like, that girl I could take advantage of, that guy I can fucking walk all over and abuse. They just know. Yeah, so that's what that was about. And I agreed. I said, yeah, that's true. And that's what a lot of my content is about, because it is about that. But some people are ready to heal and some people aren't. It's just the truth. And also some people are ready to heal in different, like really, really, really be the best version of themselves. Those are the type of clients, like my one-on-one clients and my course students, that I want to work with. And I make that very clear. It's like, because some people like just don't want to be uncomfortable. They just don't want to be in pain, and that's fucking lazy. And like, you're never going to get what you want in life. I have clients that are like, oh yeah, I'm not crying over her anymore. And yeah, we still talk and everything. I'm like, so you're still in the relationship? And then they stop therapy. And I'm like, you're going to be right back at square one, or you're going to attract the same bullshit over and over again. And it's hard, especially as someone who really wants the best for all of their clients and everyone that takes any one of my courses, or just like if you watch any of my content, if you're on this live stream right now, I really do want the best for you. And some people have such a difficult time getting out of their comfort zone. And that was my other thing. that I wrote about. Like there's this quote that's like, "Don't stop before the miracle," because a lot of people stop right before the miracle is gonna happen. Or you've seen those memes where it's kind of like someone stops digging right before they hit gold, or that type of thing. And some people give up just right before it's about to all fall into place. But if you have your eye on the prize, like, okay, I'm going to have a healthy relationship, I am going to have this type of career, this type of health, this type of wealth. If you keep going, it will all fall into place. I promise you that. I promise you that. You just have to, again, like, keep your eye on the vision, and like your mind is that powerful. So if you are entertaining doubt, it'll take a little bit longer. But if you're like, hey, this is exactly what I want, and the clients that I've had that like give up and they just get comfortable. They're like, "Oh yeah, well, I'm not like crying about this. I'm not like in the depths of despair, so I'm fine." And then they get kind of complacent about it. You know, life meets them there. And then they're like, "Oh, well," and then they circle back. They're like, "Oh yeah, it's like not working out again." And I'm like, "No shit. I tried to save you a year of your life and tell you that, but you wanted to give up. You wanted to kind of, it's just, it can be difficult to be out of your comfort zone sometimes, but then it's so much more liberating. It's just temporarily uncomfortable, you guys. Then it's very liberating. Okay. Um, so I think that was it for the comments this week. If you have any other questions about mental health, relationships, psychology, let me know. Um, But yeah, I'm really big on that. Like, we want to constantly evolve. Like, you are here. If you're seeing this right now, you are here to know that. Like, whatever you want to be, do, or have is not only possible, you're meant to have it. You wouldn't have that desire in your heart if you weren't supposed to have it. And so we just want to keep doing things to just watching videos like this or live streams or participating in them, contributing to your health in every, like, your mental, physical, psychological, spiritual health in every way. We want to keep that positive momentum going all the time, because you're always moving in one direction or the other. Every choice, every thought you have is actually a choice. It's like, what are you giving energy to? So, and I want you to move in the right direction. And that does circle back to having, like we were talking about in the beginning, having healthy boundaries, which is so difficult sometimes when we're not used to having healthy boundaries. Our nervous system can literally go into a fight or flight mode. Like, oh my God, I'm going to get abandoned because I have a boundary and because I said no to someone. That's literally what, an unhealed nervous system can do sometimes. And then you just cower down because you're afraid, basically, consciously or subconsciously. Sunny says, can a narcissist change for the better? Yes, absolutely. So, but they have to want to. The thing about that is that most narcissists don't want to change. Looking at themselves, taking accountability for something, because to change for the better requires you to take accountability, correct? You have to be like, oh, okay, here's where I am right now, and here's where I want to be. And they refuse to do that. What they would rather do a lot of the times, when people are narcissists or narcissistically defended, is just dump you and find new supply, and find, that's why they love the honeymoon phase and they love the love bombing phase, because you don't really know them and they're putting on this, facade where you're just like, oh my God, I worship you and all this stuff. So yes, they can change, but is the willingness there? And sometimes it's not there at all, or it's very low, and they'll do a little bit and they'll be like, yeah, no. And then they'll gaslight you again. And then, but you fall in love with, and you get your hopes up really high because they're trying a little bit. And then they go right back to that. And I hate when my clients are stuck in that. My heart, like, I just want to take care of them. And I know that's part of the process sometimes, but when they are ready to be like out of this relationship, like, I can't take this abuse anymore. And then they start to break up with the narcissist, and the narcissist is like, okay, no, I'll do that. I'll, let's get married, or I'm sorry, I won't talk to this person, or I won't gaslight you. Like, they'll like, I'll be better, right? The whole I'll be better thing, which might last for a couple weeks, a month, maybe. I mean, I've never seen one do like a full year, but or sometimes I've seen them like try for a year if they're like trying to get you to marry them, and then once you're married, they're like, boom, right back to. So yes, they can. And I've had clients tell me like, oh, I've been diagnosed with borderline, or I have narcissistic I am like that, but they're willing to work on it, because again, narcissism is not genetic. I don't care if anyone tells you that, they're wrong, because it's not genetic at all. It is a set of defense mechanisms, and I think it's pretty lazy. It's like, hey, how about I never work on myself, and anything that I don't like about myself, I'm just going to offload on other people. So if I hate the fact that I have brown hair, I'm going to be like, fuck you, you brunette. You're so ugly because you're a brunette. I'm just saying that. But they do that. They're hypocritical. They call you hypocritical. Everything that they are, they will deflect onto you, or project onto you. So yes, the answer is yes, but does it happen that often? I just don't want you to get your hopes up. And I've had, a lot of people like just crying to me, like, do you think that they really changed? Like, so desperately wanting them to change. And I'm like, no, watch, just get back together with them, and they will do it like in a matter of 4 weeks. It'll be back to the same thing. I comment to make you angry. I missed the wig, didn't I? Okay, well, I have to go out to dinner tonight, so I wasn't gonna wear the wig tonight. Maybe next week. Again, I don't think it vibes for Soothing Sundays. If you're new here, I go live at 5 p.m. Pacific, and it's called Soothing Sundays. And we just get ready for the week. We do a neurological reprogramming tool for the week that you get to practice all week that helps you rewire your brain and nervous system. And it's just a soothing time. It's an antidote to the Sunday scaries. We get rid of them. And so maybe next Wednesday or Thursday, whenever I go live, I think maybe, yeah. I think it'll be next week. I'll go live on a Thursday, on a Wednesday, but I'll let you guys know. Let's see. How do I handle this feeling? I have nothing to look forward to. Okay, well, I'm so sorry you have nothing to look forward to, but I do want to bust out the red wig again. I should film some content with it because it is fun, but the red wig is not soothing now. But anyway, anyone to have serious questions about mental health. But yeah, like Sunny, they have to want to change. And oftentimes they don't, because they can just find new people to enable them. And yeah, there's something called narcissistic annihilation, which means like when they have to look at themselves. And I've seen a narcissist actively like go through narcissistic annihilation, and they start screaming like, when you provide all the evidence in the world, like, no, this is what you said, and no, you're wrong. Okay, well, fine. And a lot of like narcissistic mothers, well, I'm just the worst mother ever, aren't I? Or like, one of my exes, if you're new here, I like have all these code names for my narcissistic exes. So Angry Midget, like, again, he was just angry and short. He wasn't an actual midget, but like there was this one time where I'm like, literally, I just took out my phone and I'm like, you said all of these things. Well, fine. And just like started screaming. And I'm like, I can't be bullied by screaming. And I was just like, you said that. That's what happened. So like, fucking relax. But I'm just letting you know I'm not tolerating that behavior. Has someone ever accidentally called you their ex's name? No. Not personally, but okay, if you are dealing with someone with narcissistic tendencies, they might very well do that on purpose. But also narcissists, what they do is when you like, every relationship should have healthy conflict resolution, right? So you communicate about something that's bothering you, and then, but narcissists don't like conflict because they immediately be like, you're accusing me of being bad or wrong about something. And narcissists can never admit to being wrong about anything, so they immediately get upset. And so what do? They go find their supply. What is their supply? The supply are their exes. Their supply are other relationships that they're keeping in the background, that they're keeping warm. So if they're doing that, they also might be consciously thinking about their ex a lot, that they're complaining to you about and acting like the victim and like, oh my God. So that could be a sign that they are that they're talking to their ex, they're entertaining. And I've never met a narcissist that is not cheating, emotionally cheating, keeping a bunch of extra supply warm, talking to their exes, having inappropriate relationships with other people, and it's to triangulate you. So yes, honey, it sounds like you're being triangulated, and you might be dealing with a narcissist that instead of having healthy conflict resolution, they're running to an ex, or they're running to someone that will, co-sign their bullshit and make them feel like they didn't do anything wrong and make you like villainize you. So they're just this victim, and it's all your fault. And I hate that that's the case, but just so you're right, because you don't deserve that type of treatment. Mm-mm. So yeah. Anyway, any other questions, you guys? Let me know. I have like 20 more minutes. I'm gonna have a sip of my water. Um, and also, Sunny, what I also want to say is like you should, and this is for anyone, you should feel safe in your relationships. And I'm talking about family, friends, at work. You should feel safe in your relationships. And so, but especially in a romantic relationship, like, because you spend a lot of time with, someone that you're in a romantic relationship with, you should feel safe. Your nervous system should feel at rest. Now, I'm not saying that, like, of course, you're going to get upset sometimes and like that, but in the safe container of a safe couple bubble, you should be able to express conflict, like have these uncomfortable things, because you're supposed to grow in a healthy way. Both people are supposed to grow in a healthy way in a relationship. So if you don't have that, if you're bringing up your ex, if your nervous system is like on point, like, or just on 10, it's not a good sign. I come to make you angry. Where are you going to dinner? I'm going, "What? Do you wanna show up?" I'm going to a steakhouse that I really like. Do you believe happiness is right? There's, like, this icon in the way. What is that? Do you think that happiness is a right or a luxury? I think it's a right. And I think even beyond, like, happiness, I think that our baseline and our natural states are more of, like, peace and love. I really do think that, and that, we go through things, and we go through challenges, and we go through these fear-based experiences to bring us more in alignment with peace and love. Like, and I really do think, like, God consciousness, whatever you call God, source, universe, I think that's just really the energy of love, like a pure love. I'm not even talking about romantic, I'm talking about just like the energy of love. And so I do think that we're supposed to, that is our natural state. There's a great, it's more than a book. It's like, it's called A Course in Miracles. And in the Course in Miracles, it's what it's all about. It's like returning to that state of love. And, we do, the idea is that we come to earth as a soul, and we are going to have this like illusion of fear, because all fear isn't real. It's false evidence appearing real. So if all fear is false evidence appearing real, we come here to learn that. And even if all these systems are in place, the media, politics, the health industry, whatever, that we get to understand that we don't have to be controlled and manipulated by fear, and that all fear is just an illusion. And that when we understand that and really, really understand that, we can align with whatever you call God or love more. And a God consciousness heals everything. That love consciousness can heal everything. Like physically, mentally, emotionally, everything. Should one's priority be happiness or progression? It could be both. It could be both. I think that if you get too caught up in chasing happiness, then it's like this fleeting state. It could lead to like addictions. Like, I mean, if you're just chasing happiness, it could almost be a form of numbing out. So we want to like prioritize being at the highest level of consciousness in that like love vibration, in that flow state is where things happen. And when they're not, it's like, okay, well, why am I not? What's blocking me? What can I let go of? What can I release? What needs to be healed? God consciousness, I know exactly what you're saying. Like, yeah, it can be secret. It shows up as synchronicity. And it's just a high vibrational state. Like in letting go, and all of Dr. David R. Hawkins books, but Letting Go, I just think it's the best one. He has that energy graph where it shows you like the low vibrational states that are all fear-based. They're all fear, from like guilt, shame, grief, all of the stuff. And then the one that I forget, the one that's neutral, but anger is kind of like it can propel you into the higher states of consciousness. And then the highest state is like love and peace. So that's where we want to be. And that's like when I was talking about the Sophia stage of healing, where the Sophia stage is like where you're really not affected by a narcissist at all. Carl Jung discovered this. He's like, I've been meeting these women that have been through everything, like been through every form of abuse from a narcissist, and they're just like unaffected. What is this? And it's like, so he named it the Sophia stage. And I really want that for everyone. Everyone that and if we all get to the Sophia stage, then these narcissists have to do something because they don't have any supply to feed off of. I mean, these are little like spiritual parasites that are draining us of our life force, like mentally, spiritually, emotionally, definitely physically. Like, so we want to not be a host for these toxic people that are literal psychological and emotional and spiritual parasites that are trying to feed off of us all the time. I Comment to Make You Angry says, I find the conflict to be one's happiness, to be one's progression, out tends to out others' happiness aside. For me, anyway, this has been my quote problem within myself and my personal. I mean, that kind of ties, if I'm reading that correctly, that kind of ties to what I was saying of like, don't get in your comfort zone. Like you can be happy, like you want to have times of relaxation and peace and just enjoying things, but it's also like, and it's not like on to the next, on to like where you can't be present. That's not what I'm saying. But we're also like, okay, this, and then what are we doing? What's our next goal? What's our next thing that we're going to do? What's our next way to be of service? If your health is at a place where you want it to be, it's like, okay, how do I maintain that? How do I, and often what I see is when people finally reach a health goal, then it's like, oh, now I'm not just like in this survival state of like my health, oh, you're like constantly worried about food or like whatever your health issue is. Now you could be a better father or sister or husband, whatever it is. Like, you could get the job that you wanted. You know what I mean? You could just like elevate every other area of your life. Um, let's see, Jojo. Hi, Jojo. What do you recommend doing if this new woman questions me too much? Testing, Texting at 2 a.m. and still asking why I don't reply. Jojo, I mean, why are we attracting these type of women? Because the other time I think you were asking me like about this chick that was kind of like very like promiscuous, which is a turn off and which is a huge red flag. Promiscuity isn't cute. It's not it's not like, oh yeah, I'm so evolved. No, you're not. You're the most unevolved, wounded person. And now you have like texting someone at 2 a.m. in general is a red flag, as we know. And asking why you don't reply. So that sounds very like anxious attachment to me. Like you started dating someone new and they're doing that. What I want you to do is look at what part of yourself is attracting like people that aren't emotionally available, because someone that's doing that is not emotionally available. And maybe and that's okay, Jojo. Maybe you don't want to, maybe you're not ready to be with someone that's emotionally available. Maybe you're not completely emotionally available right now, which is okay. But and I would even say that a part of you isn't fully emotionally available, whether it's conscious or not, because then you wouldn't attract this type of emotional unavailability where someone is like, I mean, it's kind of chaotic, right? Obviously, I'm asleep. I'm in no position to give explanations anymore. No, I mean, and then if someone's monitoring you that much, I mean, they have like huge control issues. So I would say to not date that person. No, not shame on you. Not shame on you at all, Jojo. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that there's an opportunity. I think that there's more healing that needs to be done and just like doing more internal work, because you want to attract someone that, well, first of all, let me walk my shit back a little bit. You want to Do you know what you want? Have you written that list that I've talked about? Have you written the list of here's my standards for how I anyone that gets to be in my life treats me? And it probably involves like feeling a sense of peace in your nervous system, not being texted, not getting a bunch of texts at 2 a.m. So, what are your standards for how everyone treats you, especially like a romantic partner? I would do that. And then also, what do you want ideally a relationship to look like? Like, get really detailed, write it down. I don't care. Oh, I don't journal. Yes, you do now. You do now. If you're here, you journal and you like it and you learn a lot from it. But even if you're just journaling in your phone, like, and just title it like, these are my standards in general for myself. Like, I always have X amount of money in my bank account. I'm this is my body composition. I go to bed at this time. I'm talking like all the standards. And then I would do a separate journal entry or, page in your notes section in your phone of like, here is what my relationship looks like. And I want to say ideal relationship, but like this is what my dating life looks like. I have a healthy dating life that looks like, and then write it all down. How does that sound, Jojo? Sunny, how can you begin slash start a serious conversation with your partner? So you simply say, hey, I would like to have a serious conversation with you. Or you don't even have to use the word serious, actually, but just ask like whatever their name is, can we have some time to talk about something? It's not that serious. Or you can even say it's not that serious. That there's a dating coach that she's older, like she's been around forever. But anyway, she's like, just say it's not that serious, but you want to chat about something. And then if he's not making the time or if they're not making the time, that's a red flag. Because again, in your safe couple bubble, you should like both people get to be seen and heard, and you get to hold space for each other. So if someone is like no or not willing to hold space for you, that's a red flag because that's basically saying, no, you don't get to have your needs met in this relationship. So with your partner, you should be able to get that need met. Like I'm sure they're getting all their needs met from you or your whatever, but like you should be able to get, and it should just be really simple. Like, hey, can we chat? And so even you asking that question, I'm wondering like, does your partner, I mean, make it difficult? And from what you wrote above, like when you asked a question and they bring up their ex, I'm feeling a lot of red flags, Sonny. Jojo, I smile and laugh every day thanks to your advice. So it's easy for me to send her on her way. So yeah, she's gone. She's gone, and like let's not attract that anymore, Jojo. Let's attract like some healthier dynamics. That's why I'm saying write that down. Because when we consciously put energy into it, we attract things differently. But if you're just kind of like, I'm done with her, like I say a lot, you can be done with the situation and keep attracting the same bullshit. I don't want you to attract the same bullshit. I want you to have what you want in your life. So I promise you, it's not just about being done with it. It's about, okay, where can I consciously recalibrate my nervous system? Where can I consciously decide to have a different experience? Because your mind is that powerful. You can decide, I'm not in my relationship space, I'm going to have this experience now. Okay. I comment to make you angry. Address it with a serious tone from experience. I couldn't tell you when my exes were serious because their tone didn't change. I thought we were just talking. Yeah, and like Sunny, when you're like a serious conversation, do you mean that you want to address something that made you uncomfortable? And if you do, I think it's perfectly appropriate to say, I just want to address something that made me uncomfortable. If someone loves you and cares about you and cares about your mental and emotional and physical safety and your well being on every level, then of course you want to be like, oh my God, yes, let's talk about that. Now, if you're with someone that's defensive and refuses to take any responsibility for themselves or their behavior, then that conversation is going to be more difficult. And I would say that you deserve safety in your relationship. That's what I'm circling back to. So it really shouldn't be difficult to just say like, "Hey, can we chat about this? It made me uncomfortable when blah blah blah." And you could just say that because it did. It made you uncomfortable. So just start the conversation with, "It made me uncomfortable when this and this happened." I don't know if it was your intention to make me feel this way, but that's the impact that it had. Intention versus impact, especially, I mean, that really helps soften the blow with a lot of people. So maybe your intention wasn't to make me feel bad by bringing up your ex, but it really did. And I'm not entertaining any exes at all in this relationship, and I don't want you to either. Like, that's, I think that's a very basic and decent boundary. Um, I comment to make you angry, address, let's see. Be you. The expansionist, "Hi, the expansionist. Let's get it. Yep, yep." Jojo, "But can I prevent how can I prevent who do I attract?" Jojo, I legit just went over that. How do I prevent it starts with physical attraction, in my opinion. Of course it starts with physical attraction, right? But there's a lot of pretty people. Like, there's a lot of people that you're gonna be like, women or whatever that you're attracted to. All I'm saying is that energetically, you are attracting people right now from what you've been telling me, and thank you for your vulnerability, and thank you for telling me that. But, like, and, like, sharing with us, right? But you are attracting people that aren't emotionally available, or women that aren't emotionally available right now. And you can continue to do that. Like, if that's comfortable, I'm not judging that at all. But when you're asking me this, I get the sense that you don't want that. You don't want text at 2 in the morning. You don't want to be like hanging out with some skank that's banging a bunch of other people. So what you have to do, what your responsibility is. And what's so nice about this is that you have complete control over your reality and who you attract. So if you write down, like, these are my standards, I only attract women that are beautiful, that I'm attracted to, and that are emotionally available, and that are psychologically stable, and that, are don't have that have a secure attachment, if you want that. So anxious attachment is like, "Where are you? Where are you?" And there's never enough, like, reassurance. And secure attachment is like, "Hey, cool. It was nice seeing you on Monday, and, plan a date, and yeah, I'm excited to see you on our next date." Like, that's how it should be, at all times, but especially in the beginning. You're not like trying to control this person. So that is your work, Jojo, to answer your question again. So bust out your journal, get out your phone, write those standards down. You got to do the internal work or nothing changes. Peter, "Hey, Lauren, sorry I didn't join." Oh, I didn't even, you, nothing to be sorry about ever, actually. But I didn't even set the time really. Like, I have a lot of, like, social stuff this week, so I wanted to jump on before I head out for dinner. But yeah, you're not, nothing to be sorry about. Good to see you, Peter. How are you? I comment to make you angry. "Peter, we were waiting. I was worried." Oh, you guys are cute. The expansionist, "I have accidentally called women another." Oh, that's rough. Yeah, no one likes that. I mean, like, the expansionist, would you like if some girl you were dating called you another guy? That's just a rough one. Ouch. Um, but again, like, I also, and like, this is not, if you've called someone a different name or whatever, what is that, consciously or unconsciously about? You know? It's just, it's interesting. Um, I usually give them nicknames. Dated a girl with red hair and her name was Red. I mean, yeah, okay, we all do that. We all do the nicknames, especially with our friends. And then, you guys, when I talk about my exes, I tell you the code names for them, and I think that that's fine. But it's just different to call someone else by someone else's name. That's got to sting. Peter, was a hectic week. Just came in when Lauren did her whole JoJo and Skank. No, I was just telling JoJo, like, about, if you want to attract something different, you have to operate from a different level of consciousness, right? And so if you notice that you're attracting certain things that you don't want, then we have to look at like, okay, because nothing can exist in your reality if you don't settle for it in some type of way, or if it's not okay with you in some type of way. Like if it's a complete hell no, you wouldn't attract into your experience. So we only allow things into our life that we consciously or unconsciously tolerate on some level. And maybe Jojo, this is just an experience for you to say no to a bunch of people. Maybe you've never said no before, and so this is just a good way to set boundaries. And especially like when my clients are getting frustrated, they're like, "Oh, I want to date. I want to find my person. I keep finding all these wrong people." It's like sometimes like the universe does that so you can say no, so you could get really like very fortified in terms of like, this is what I want and this is not what I want. So that can be a good thing. And I again, you can think it just helps to write it down, to journal about it, and to decide like, okay, thank you universe for giving me all these experiences of what I definitely don't want. It's really strengthened what I do want. So you could work from there. Um, I comment to make you angry. Not much, just Lauren being Lauren, bragging. Oh my God. No, that's not what I'm doing. Um, a lot of names. I comment to make you angry. Hey, expansionist, how you play off, how you play that off, just start calling a girl them, just start calling them more random names. No, that's not okay. That's not good advice, dude. Um, Peter, I'm good. Hope your birthday. Oh, thank you. You did not miss the red wig. Again, like I'm I'm going out with some friends after this, so it wasn't the right time to bust out the red wig. I will one day. I will one day. Probably not on Soothing Sundays, but I will one day. Peter, at least right now I need to find myself. Exactly. You need to find yourself before I need to find myself before thinking about someone else. Just heal. Yes, exactly. That is the best thing to do. I know a lot of people try to regulate their nervous system by like jumping into something else. Narcissists and all personality disorders always do this. It's always like boom, they're right on to the next thing. And why? Because it makes them feel wanted. It makes them feel like, for one, they don't have to deal with the grief of the relationship that just ended, and in fact they take the grief instead of dealing with it and project it onto the new supply that they have, and they have no business being in a relationship that they, because they just got out of one, but they have all this compounded grief that they never dealt with that they're dumping onto the new person. So and it's really taxing. I got in, I think, again, one of the code names. So for Tall Beard, so after I dated Angry Midget, I dated Tall Beard, and he just got out of a relationship, just whatever, like all narcissists do, just immediately rejected that person for whatever reason. And instead of dealing with it like a mature person, he like got into a relationship with me, and I should have vetted that more carefully, and then was like constantly talking about her. And I'm like, dude, you need to grieve that relationship instead of constantly talking about her, because that's not the vibe. And then I got mad at him, and then I'm like, you know what? Like, you know, neither one of us have any business being in a relationship. So bye. Wait, what? I didn't type that, LOL. You didn't type what? You wrote a lot of names. I think that's what I read. But yes, that Peter, that is the healthiest thing to do, is to focus on yourself, and it's really difficult. Initially, it's just and it's so temporary, and then you get really into healing because it feels good, and you're not attracting the same bullshit, and you really get this deep sense of love for yourself that you never had. I remember when my therapist was like, just be by yourself for a little bit. I'm like, I don't want to do that. It was like very scary to think about doing that. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I just really like love and appreciate myself in a way that I didn't before, because, of whatever programming and wounding I had that was, projected onto me. And so my self-esteem was really low. And so I got a chance to recalibrate and heal all of that. Oh, no worries, expansionist. I'm just reading the comments, so anyway. Um, but anyone else have any other questions before I get off? Um, we will be reconvening on Soothing Sundays at 5 p.m. Pacific. I comment to make you angry. There's a lot of women who don't like being alone. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that don't like being alone. Again, you know, share with you guys all the time that I was raised by a narcissist, and so I was attracting that into my experience again unconsciously. It just like until it was healed. And all of those men, like, they hated being alone, and they still, I mean, they stalk my social media. Now I think it's funny, but like they don't like being alone. They always have someone, they're they're in a relationship with. And a lot of like men, like I said, or DL, or like, at least bi or whatever. And so it's like, look how straight I am. I have a new chick, like, type of thing. So they'll do that. And then also it's this like they they equate being alone with like not being wanted or rejected, or like because again, you have to remember, narcissists, all of their self-esteem and their self-worth and their whole identity is based on what someone else thinks about them. Like, they need you. I keep telling you guys this. They act like that you're disposable and all this stuff, but they need you. Their whole self-concept is based on what your opinion of them is. So that's why they love the idealization phase and the love bombing phase, because you're like, oh my God, you're so great. That's all they want to hear. And it's never enough because they don't think that about themselves. So it's constant need of supply. And if you're one of these doormats that is always praising them, they'll eventually hate you for that, because like, you're fucking stupid, you dumb bitch. Like, I know that I'm a piece of shit. Why are you acting like I'm so great? So it never works out for you. I've been a Retta I've I've been a retina husband a few times. I don't know what that means. Um, I've been alone for about 5 years. That's awesome. Hi, Miss Priya, how are you? How to respond when someone um, hold on, it's moving around. How to respond when someone answers your questions by questioning your competence. I mean, that's just gaslighting. And then you could calmly say, like, if you ask someone something and they're like, "Are you stupid?" or they question your competence, you could just be like, "Well, we could talk about if I'm stupid or not later, but right now I'm asking you the question." I would just constantly redirect back to the question, because that's a form of gaslighting you, and that's a way to deflect and try to get you involved in some type of drama, or like, because again, narcissists, these personality disorders, love conflict, they love chaos, they love drama. So instead of asking them a question where they would have to take responsibility for something which they hate, they would rather do that. So I would just keep your poker face and be like, we're not talking about that, I'm asking you this. We could talk about how incompetent I am later, but right now I'm asking you this. Boom, that's all you have to say, Miss Priya. Nice to see you, Miss Priya. I don't think my partner has ever cheated, because if that was the case, I would automatically leave. I don't know. Um, Sunny, I don't know. Because if they're talking about their ex, I just I'm glad to hear that you would automatically leave. That's an excellent boundary to have. Am I ruling it out from what you've told me? I don't know. And like, again, there could be that gray area where they're just starting to warm people up or just keep people in the background. So if you do leave, it's like, fine, I don't have to deal with my feelings of grief. I'm just automatically going to start talking to someone else, act like a huge victim, and that will be my new supply. I'm just saying that that happens. Peter, being alone and loneliness are two very different things. Yes, they are. Because if you've been in a toxic relationship, the most alone you can ever feel is being with someone in a toxic relationship. So yes, they are two very different things. If you have seen the movie The Hobbit, the movie starts with Biblo just being myself and having a quiet um, evening dinner. It has always it has always attracted me. Yeah, I mean, when you like really fall in love with yourself, and this might sound, I used to think it sounded corny until like, because I didn't have that ability, I didn't have that awareness, I didn't have that like level of consciousness yet. But when you really do, it's so peaceful, and it feels so loving, and it feels so nice, and your standards just immediately go up, and you immediately only attract healthy people. It's such a beautiful thing, actually. Um, Probably longer, I don't know. I've never had a girlfriend. I've been thinking on getting one lately, but then it costs money. I'll have to meet her family. Yeah, I mean, yeah, girls cost money. Find one with find one in your budget, in your, what is it called? Whatever. Girls cost money, relationships cost money, especially if you're the masculine energy in a relationship. Um, let's see. I comment to make you angry. Friends who are girls are just easier. Oh boy. Okay. I'm gonna leave that one alone. That's what I feel lately. Loneliness. Thank you, Peter. I think that's it. Yeah, like loneliness is like a yearning. It's a longing for something. And I don't like loneliness is like it could be very informative. It's like, okay, if I am feeling lonely, what is it that's missing? Like, and if it's like, oh, I want a girlfriend, well, what does that mean? Like, dig deeper into that. Do I want companionship? Do I want my experience to be seen and heard and reflected? Do I want to like build something with someone? Why? Am I wanting a sense of community? Like dig into that so you can attract like something that's aligned with that. Because sometimes people are like, oh, I don't want to be lonely. And they just attract some bullshit that they didn't actually want. So the more intentional you are with things, that's again, I'm going to circle back to writing it down, journaling about this. All of these things are so helpful. When you write things down, I can tell you how many times I've written things down and then boom, it comes into my reality because I consciously wrote it down and I'm like, this is what I want. This is the standard. This is the thing that I am bringing into my reality. It's a real thing, you guys. Miss Priya, sometimes the trap is society expects us to be with someone. Well, why the fuck you listening to society? Is society with you? Is society and I'm like saying this kind of sarcastically because I used to think like that. I used to be like, oh, my value is, or I'm not good if I'm not in a relationship, or I'm going to be seen as not loved if I'm not in a relationship. But what those things are in place. So what, you feel bad about yourself, so you lower your standards and hang out with some dusty guy that doesn't deserve you? No. So I would say fuck what society thinks and live by your own standards, which should be high. A girlfriend will fix that feeling, I think. Okay. I would say that that's not completely true, but I completely understand what you mean. But if you can get into a place where you like completely like love yourself and like love like every aspect, like I love this life that I have and everything, then you wouldn't even think like, oh, girls cost money, I have to meet their family. It would be like, that's so exciting to think about. Like, because I want like, because if you're just trying to like fill some void, like to numb out, like, okay, that was a bad choice of words, not fill a void, but like, if you're trying to like numb some emotion, and you think like a girlfriend will do it, it won't. Like, yeah, the more intentional you are about why you want partnership, the healthier the relationship will be, and you will get like you'll attract a high quality person. Okay, Peter, not that I need to focus on any not that I need to focus anymore on others, but society looks at people who are by themselves as weird. I don't. Or selfish. I don't. I think it's weird or selfish to like be in a relationship just because you need to. Or like, I think it's, and people are gonna, whatever with, like, people don't like hearing this, but I think it's weird and selfish to, you know, be dating someone and then like accidentally get pregnant because you think you should have kids now, and like now you're in this situation with this person that doesn't want to be with you but is going to do it for the kids. Like, I think that's weird and unhealthy. So again, like fuck what anyone else thinks. Like you have no control over what anyone else thinks. And by the way, what other people think about you is just a projection of themselves. And by the way, like, and I love this quote by Eleanor Roosevelt, what other people think of me is none of my business. What other people think of you is none of your fucking business because it's just a projection. It really has nothing to do with you. And the people that actually love and care about you will love and accept you no matter what and won't call you selfish for making decisions that are for the best, you know, for making decisions that are the best for your well-being at the time. So fuck them. I just gonna say, Miss Priya, societal views are something that needs to be overcome. Again, this whole overcome thing, just let go. Just let it go. Like, are you really gonna let what you think someone else's opinion is about you, like, rule your life? Like, are you gonna let that literally manipulate and control you? They're not they're not paying you, they're not adding to your bank account, they're not adding to your life, like, who fucking cares? Do you think I care? Like, I mean, I literally, for a living, help people have better relationships, and I'm not married. Like, you don't even fucking know if I wanna be married. Like, some people, like whatever, like, I have amazing clients, I've helped, like, hundreds of people, so I'm not worried about it, but, like, when people are like, "Oh, well, you're not married," what does that have to do with anything? There are plenty of people that are in very toxic relationships that are in these streets giving advice that I wouldn't want any part of their life. And I have to tell you, my life is amazing. I love like every part of like all the relationships in my life. And like what I mean is like friends, family, all of it. Like, so, that's what I mean. Just do you and it will all come together. I don't know. I think it's difficult to explain on here. I think that you should write about it. I think that you should do some journaling about it because it should be crystal fucking clear. It should be like, yeah, I want this. And I get to have that, and it would be fun to have that. Like when a man or the masculine energy in a relationship is really ready, they're like, "Yeah, of course, I would love that." And I would love like spoiling her or whatever or giving her whatever she wants. Like the masculine energy loves doing that when they're ready. Otherwise, it just is like, "Oh, that's expensive," and then I have to meet the family, and then it doesn't feel right. But when you're ready, all of those things you really want to do. And it's very like, yes, of course I want to do that. Peter, I gotta go after this actually, guys. Does unconditional love exist in humans? If yes, I still need to see an example. Peter, I just need you to worry about having unconditional love for yourself. Yes, it does. You must have unconditional love for yourself. Um, and that's all I want you to focus on right now. And it just means like that love isn't weaponized. It just flows. And that doesn't mean like you can still love someone and then it's like, okay, well, I don't want to be in this relationship for whatever reason, but it's not taken away because they're not doing what you want. And I think that's what your situation is. Peter, you just focus on unconditionally loving yourself and deepening your understanding of what it means to unconditionally love yourself. Okay? Because that is going to deepen and deepen. Yeah, but there's all that. Yeah, but there's on that cooks, one wears heels, one I don't know what that means. I comment to make you angry. Miss Priya, stigmas exist. They don't. I'm sorry, they can exist at any age if you want them to, or they could not, you know? It's like people tell us it's too I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Miss Priya. I'm 44 years old and I'm like, I'm fucking amazing and I'm having fun and I'm like, I'm having the most fulfilling relationship. So who fucking cares? That's something you're putting on yourself. So again, something can only exist in your reality if you let it and if you buy into it and believe it. I asked one if she would make hot cocoa as a test. Why are you testing women? And why are you asking them to do wifey things for you? I would say no. Like, why are you asking like again, like, are you the prize? Are you the female? Or the male energy in a relationship? If a guy were to test me, I'd be like, bye. Like, that's not masculine. That's not Peter, that's fantastic statement. Unconditional love for yourself. A win. at work, a situation came up where I typically run a monk, but I took my time and put myself good. That's another thing to celebrate. Woo, woo, woo. Yes, we love that. Okay, thanks for tonight's tips. Self take care. Thank you, Miss Priya. Yeah, I'm just so adamant about that. Like you don't have to follow anyone's expectation of you because that's a form of gaslighting and it's a way to keep you small and make you feel like shit about yourself. And you are amazing, Miss Priya. So don't even think about or don't even allow yourself to get brainwashed in that way. She invited me in for a drink. Okay. But, like, the whole idea of testing someone, I'm just like, just be you. Just, like, if you are coming from a mindset of like, "Oh, I'm testing this person," that's all I'm saying. Okay. I gotta go, guys. It was so nice hanging out with you, and I will see you on Soothing Sundays. I love you guys, and I'm really proud of you guys. Um, thanks. I relate to Miss Priya. We'll work on it. She just needs work, and you are used to it. But yeah, of course. Love you too. Love you all. And again, if you have questions that you want me to answer on the next live stream, um, leave them, DM me on Instagram or TikTok, and I will answer them. And thank you, Peter. I will have a nice dinner. And I will see you on Soothing Sundays at 5 p.m. Pacific. Mwah. Love you.